the land of opportunity? If you work hard, can you really get ahead? Are the only people who can pull themselves up by their own bootstraps men who inherited those bootstraps from a wealthy grandfather? NYC's rising cost of living, income stagnation, and student debt have converged to create a tale of two cities. And on Wednesday, BRIC will be exploring that widening gap at our Be Heard Town Hall. To tell us more, we're joined by moderator extraordinaire Brian Vines, who was also just nominated for a New York Emmy. Congratulations.
Oh boy, it's all true. Vote for Pedro. I'll be looking for you guys at that show. But first, our show.
That's
We're
right.
gonna earn it. Yeah, so Wednesday, February 27th.
If you want to see Emmy nominee Brian Vines in the flesh, you can come out. Come on out.
That's right.
What are we going to be discussing, and who are some of the people who are going to be talking about the widening inequality?
So number one, we're going to be discussing the economic inequality in New York City with a special prejudice toward Brooklyn, of course.
Obviously.
And the most important people who you're going to hear talking are everyday Brooklynites. The series is called the Be Heard Town Hall. This is, I believe, our 10th time assembling the folks in Brooklyn, and we really do center the voices of everyday Brooklynites. We get them in the room with some people who we think are pretty smart that are going to have their butts in the seats, but it really is the people of Brooklyn who make the thing sing, and they're always unfiltered. Sometimes it's contentious. There's tension in the room. There's joy and tears.
It got a little rowdy last time, right?
It absolutely did, because we keep it real. It was really, we were speaking to where people live, and this is an issue that does exactly that. But sometimes people are more reserved about the money they make, the debt they're in, and all of those different things that swirl around what President Obama called the issue of our time. So we're just really trying to get at what it really means and how income inequality and economic inequality manifest themselves here in Brooklyn.
And I know that you're a moderator, not so much an interviewer at the Be Heard Town Halls, but what are some of the questions that you're going to have for our guests?
You know, we are keeping this Brooklyn specific and, as I said, centering the voices of Brooklynites. And what we found just in our explorations of this and getting ready is that so much of economic reporting has sort of morphed into market reports. So it's less about people and the way people relate to the economy and how the economy serves or does them a disservice in a lot of instances. And we traded real reporting and news for stock tickers. So we're getting at economic inequality through the lens of gendered poverty, through the lens of what it means to be a person of color in a system that's sort of built on the sweat of your slave labor, but doesn't have anything for you on the other end, and how this sort of manifests itself for generations. But we're also talking about things like student debt. So we have assembled some phenomenal people to talk all along that spectrum, from the 1% to the 99%, and a group that often gets sort of lost and stuck in the middle, folks with student debt who are aspiring to middle class and upper middle class lives. To that end, Natalia Abrams from the Student Debt Crisis is going to be in the house. We have a deputy mayor coming. The former president of the SEIU union is going to be here, and Helene Olin, who's a Brooklynite and also a Washington Post columnist who writes about personal finance and gets very Brooklyn, is going to be in the house. So we just want Brooklyn to come down and be heard.
I think one of the challenges with this topic is, you know, you're using words like personal finance and like income inequality, economics, and I'm already kind of asleep. But these are actually about issues that hit people the hardest. It's about everything. It's about, you know, how you can, you know, educate your kids, put food on the table, you know, see a better life for your children and your grandchildren.
Absolutely.
How do we make this like sexier, or how do we get butts in the seats for this Be Heard Town Hall meeting?
I personally am always looking for my point of entry, because if I'm not interested as the guy who has to sort of keep a train on the track a little, I don't expect anybody to give us their time. And the number one thing we don't want to do is waste someone's time. And it really is looking at these themes. The last time we all met, we talked about NYCHA. How do you tell the story about NYCHA without getting at economic inequality? Before that, we did segregation in schools. We've done the drug war. Like every single topic that we touch that gets people heated has a kernel that really blossoms into this economic inequality question. And if we can get people to sort of feel that and see their point of entry personally, whether it's student debt, the gentrification they're facing, the drug treatment that they're not getting, healthcare, any number of things, there's an economic center to it. So if there was any question or you're wondering why you should come down, there absolutely will be some point of entry for you.
Right. All roads lead back to...
Yeah. It ain't going to be Econ 101. I'll say
Right.
that. Like, it's going to be a lively discussion, and we really need the voices of the people of Brooklyn to make sure it looks and sounds like us and addresses our concerns with people who are accountable, including the deputy mayor of New York City, who is Dr. Jonas Shande, who's the chief economist at the Fiscal Policy Institute. We've got lots of folks coming in who are smart and ready and open to engage.
You have made a compelling case for why people should come on out. So give us the details.
So the widening gap, economic inequality in New York City, a Be Heard Town Hall is going to be right here in this building at 647 Fulton Street on Wednesday, February 27th. It's 90 minutes. Come by for 6:30. We get the live show started at 7. We'll have you back out into the world smarter than you came in at 8:30. I promise.
Great. People should come. It's an opportunity for your voice to be heard.
Absolutely.
And to hear from some really smart people as well.
Yeah, they're not so dumb.
All right. Well, Brian, thank you so much for telling us
having me.
about the upcoming town hall.
Thank you, Mackenzie.